welcome to the Juiced Up Show NBA special. Today we're going to be talking about NBA, and I'm joined by my good friend Jamaica Gary, straight from San Diego. He's my NBA aficionado. Gary, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Jake. Thanks for having me on the show. Much appreciated.
Thanks for coming on. I'm glad we finally got together, finally able to get you on. I know you've been following the NBA from the start of the year, so I thought, who better to have on for an NBA special than my buddy Jamaica Gary. So today, our topics for the NBA special are going to be, we're going to go over the NBA standings. We're going to talk about the Trae Young trade that just recently happened and possibly some other trades that can happen before the deadline of NBA February 5th, I believe, is the trade deadline. And then I asked Gary here to put a list of his top 5 midseason MVPs because we're almost at the halfway point of the NBA season. And then at the end of the show, it's the Juiced Up takes. So let's jump right into it. We're going to go over the NBA standings. I'm going to run through the top 10 of each conference, and then we'll just kind of converse and we'll just talk about some of these teams and who we're impressed with, who's kind of been on the downslope that we maybe had better expectations for. So starting at the top of the East, the surprise is the Detroit Pistons. They're coming in at 28 and 12 right now. We have the Boston Celtics without Tatum. They kind of started off slow in the season, but now they're up into the second spot of the Eastern Conference at 24 and 14. The Knicks are right there behind them, or the Knicks are ahead of them. We have Boston behind the Knicks at the Knicks are 2, Boston is 3, but they both have the same record of 24 and 14. We have Toronto at 4 at 23 and 16. Philly's doing pretty good at the 5th seed at 21 and 15 is their record. And then at the 6th seed, we have Cleveland. And then we also have Orlando and Miami finishing out the top 8. And then our play-in teams are going to be Atlanta and Chicago at the 9 and 10 spot, and that's for the Eastern Conference. And then the Western Conference has been pretty much OKC from the get-go. As soon as the gates open, they kind of had slowed down now on how much they've been winning. They've lost a few games. They're coming in at 32 and 7. We have San Antonio at number 2, 27 and 11 is their record. Denver at 3 at 25 and 13. They're playing good ball right now. And then at number 4, we have Minnesota jumping up. They were coming in at 6 earlier in the week. Now they're at the 4th spot. They're 25 and 14. We have the Los Angeles Lakers at 23 and 13. And then Houston's also coming in on the 6th seed at 22 and 13. And then number 7 is Phoenix at 23 and 15. Golden State at the 8th spot at 21 and 18. Portland at number 9. Coming in at 19 and 20, and then finishing the top 10 for the 7 through 10 for the play-in tournament would be Memphis at 16 and 22. So, going over those standings and with some of the injuries that happened at the start of the year, because the NBA did have a lot of action at the start of the year. Chauncey Billups getting arrested, unfortunately. Thiago Splitter having to come into his position as the head coach. They got Portland playing well. Like I said, they're at the 9th spot right now, the play-in tournament, so they're doing pretty good. There's murmurs of Dame possibly coming back if they can make a playoff run. And then I think in the Eastern Conference, Detroit's a big surprise, coming in after how they got bounced out in the first round against the Knicks. And then also, the Celtics without Tatum, they did kind of sputter out the gate. They had a new trade. They lost a few players. So they're able to kind of pull it together now, and they're coming in at, up in the top 3 with them and the Knicks. So I feel like this is actually a pretty competitive, both conferences are pretty competitive. Who's your surprise team in the East, and who's kind of like a team that you didn't think was going to do as bad as they are right now? So who do you like that's doing really well, and then who's kind of on the bitter end that you're like kind of surprised with?
Well, as far as the teams that are doing really good, that I'm definitely surprised with the loss of Tatum. Brown has stepped up. He's carrying the Celtics. He's putting up some really good numbers. I know the knock on him was he couldn't go left, but he seemed to have worked on some of his skills, and he's a big surprise for me coming out of the East, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, and he did get a big payday like Tatum did, but he's obviously earning his money this year. Pritchard's been coming well off the bench. The smaller, he's on the smaller end, but He's a hustler, and they got some good players, and they also have some good coaching. I feel like they always kind of know how to pull the right strings in Boston. And then you being a native New Yorker, how are you feeling about your Knicks so far this year with the new coach Mike Brown running a new system? They're kind of throwing more bodies out there, running, sometimes playing 10 guys. So how are you feeling about your native Knicks this year? And are they can they make a move in the trade deadline, or you think their roster is good enough to make a finals run?
I think the roster is still good enough to make a finals run. They're having a little bit of injury problems right now with a couple of their key players out. But the new coach, he's kind of putting a lot more players out on the court. I think that's going to help them out when they get into the playoffs. They're going to have a lot more fresh legs, and I'm looking for them to maybe not win the chip, but make it to the second round, possibly the third round.
Okay, so yeah, I think that was kind of always the knock with Coach Tibbs when he was with the Knicks, was he's always running the same seven dudes, and he's making these guys play 40 plus minutes every night. He doesn't believe in load management. So I think that was one of the knocks with him, was this his stubbornness on wanting to sit players and rest players, for the long term, talking playoffs and stuff like that. So the Knicks are doing pretty good. Now, if the Knicks were to make a trade, what do they need to get? More size? Do they need more guard depth? What would it be a trade for the Knicks that would kind of help them out to get to that finals run then, in your opinion, if they were to trade?
I mean, that's an interesting question. I think every team in the NBA can use perimeter defense and shooting. Shooting is a premium when you get into the playoffs and the coaches cue in on their key players. You're going to need somebody who's going to be able to catch the ball on the wing and put up some threes and make the defense pay.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of it's kind of starting to be like a new trend now, as they are looking for some more two-way players, guys that are a little bit longer on the wing, guys that can cover multiple positions, because you're getting a lot of pick and roll play, a lot of one-on-one play, and it's a lot of matchups in the NBA now. Not so much X's and O's, but it's what's our best matchup and how can we exploit that matchup. So I feel like that's kind of how the NBA has been for quite a few years now, and also with the tempo being up and down, you do need some athletes out there, not just big burly dudes that are just going to kind of knock people around. So let's jump in. So we
That's
talked.
right.
We talked about the East. Let's jump into the West now a little bit. Houston, they made that move. They traded some good players away for Kevin Durant. They lost the other night against Portland here in Portland. How do you Houston being in the sixth spot? Do you think that's kind of that's below expectations, I would feel like, with them going for Kevin Durant and kind of going all in? Or how do you feel about Houston, where they're at right now in the season, being at six?
I kind of like where they're at. This a fairly new team. It's got a mix of veteran players like Kevin Durant, and they got some young players that are coming into their own. The key for them, I think, this year is the coaching. Udoka is a really, really good coach. He's got a lot of experience, and he's putting together a good product out there. He's got those guys playing hard. They're playing good defense. They're getting a lot of people out on the court. Kevin Durant is their closer, and that's a quality closer. They might be maybe not that high in the standings, but as the season goes along and they gel, I think they're going to be one of those teams that once you get into the postseason, you're going to have a challenge trying to get past them.
Yeah, and having that closer like Kevin Durant in the postseason that knows, with that finals experience, a lot of playoff games under his belt, I feel like that is a good tool to have in the tool belt. But at the same time, if you kind of look at Kevin Durant's track record as a player, he was never like the front runner, like this is our go-to leader, this is who is going to be, who's going to pick us up or who's going to elevate our game. When he's with Golden State, they had Draymond, they had Clay, they had Steph. So they had players there that where he could be in the background and just hoop and not have to worry about being vocal or holding other players accountable. Phoenix, he wasn't really that player either, because they had Booker, and they tried to make it work with Beal. So I feel like the only knock I would give with Kevin Durant throughout his career is he's not like a guy that's going to motivate you or maybe help you pick up your game. He's more of a guy that just wants to go out there and ball. Would you agree or disagree with that? Or what's your take kind of on Kevin Durant's leadership style and kind of how he is on a team as, being a superstar?
Well, I mean, his leadership style is different. He's not a vocal player. He's not going to be the guy that you're going to look to in the locker room to really like be very vocal and outspoken. But I think the knock on him. He's always talked about not wanting to be number two. I think he's got a chance this year to try to show and prove with whatever his leadership style is. If it's just being out on the court and closing out the games, I see him actually stepping into that role. Not every player is going to respond to the loud, vocal, aggressive, in-your-face leadership style. Sometimes maybe the silent, pull a guy to the side and try to be an encouraging player.
Yeah.
No one's ever said he's been a bad teammate. And if you look at their record, even though they're still not high in the West, they're still going to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true, and they won't be in the play-in. And like you're saying, they have guys in the interior. They got some good athletes, and I agree with you too. I think it's going to be a little bit of them more like having to gel. And so let's move on from them. Another team that is kind of, I guess you could say, getting long in the tooth in the West. They had their run, almost like 10 years ago now, would feel like, is Golden State. And you're starting to see Steve Kerr showing a lot of emotion on the court, getting ejected from, off of foul calls. There's bad calls in there, and it's okay if you want to, get in the refs, if you want to get in the ref shit. But, the other night when they're playing OKC, it was like they were trying to hold him back almost to the fact where it looked like he maybe wanted to get kicked out of the game because I think he had so many guys. On the bench that night. Like I think they just sat everybody. But now Golden State, they're in the eighth spot right now. They're always gonna, as long as you have Steph Curry, you're gonna have talent around you to help him out, hopefully. But where is Golden State right now? Are they kind of at like we need to tear this down and just build around Steph again and get rid of Draymond? They haven't really been hitting in the draft. They haven't hit a lot of free agents. I know they got Jimmy Butler, but he's obviously not looking like a difference maker. Where do you see Golden State going forward? Are they kind of going to do a fire sale and just get rid of Kuminga and whoever they can, and then just start fresh? Or where do you see Golden State going? What direction are they going in, and how do you see them fixing their team?
Golden State is an interesting case. I mean, Draymond is with his strong personality. He's unpredictable. I just see them in trouble. I mean, Steph is a dynamic player. He can carry you. He can get you a buzzer beater. But I just see him, being the one that's carrying the team in the regular season. Once you get to the playoffs, and defenses are going to focus on him. I personally think they're in a little bit of trouble. They've got guys like Kuminga. He seems really unhappy. I really don't understand the logic about, not developing him, getting him to play, getting him to be happy so that, you can get some good results out of him. He's a really, really good player.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably regret not treating him a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And possibly having him get moved to another team. Yeah. That'll be sad to see.
Yeah, and I feel like they're still holding on to those golden years of when they were making the finals, and they just don't. It's almost like a dog. It's almost like a dog that you need to put down, but you don't want to put it down because you're gonna miss that dog. So I feel like it's a dog that needs to get put to sleep, but the owner don't want to put it to sleep yet. That's how I would say. That's how Golden State.
Steph is getting older.
He can't run around as much. Yeah, because a lot of his game was moving around and getting open. And the older you get, those legs get tired quicker. The recovery time ain't as quick. So his game, even though he can shoot, it's not going to be able to run around and work those off screens and stuff like that. So we'll see.
I mean, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy. I mean, he's got to be regular season Jimmy too to get, to try to get.
How about show up, Jimmy?
To try to get past the playoffs.
Where's show up, Jimmy? Come on, man, show up.
I mean, Jimmy, come on, play in the regular season too. I mean, that's I'm really disappointed in Draymond. Draymond. I mean, he is probably the most immature, unpredictable guy in the league. I mean, you never know what you're gonna get. A key
Yeah.
game, he's gonna lose his lose his mind, yell
Yeah.
at the refs, get tossed, and cost them the season.
Put himself
So
on
I'm
timeout.
not high on the Warriors, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
I love Steph, and it's sad to see that it's coming to the end of the era.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to our next topic, and that's going to be the Trey Young trade from Boston to Washington, and then I'll throw out a couple other possible players that might get traded. We already did talk about the Knicks maybe making some moves or not. So the Trey Young trade was interesting to me. I was trying to find like he wanted to go to Washington. They're one of the bottom two teams in the league. They only have about 10 wins, but he likes a couple of the players they have there, and maybe what maybe he sees things in the background that they're building, and that maybe there's a good foundation to start with, and it's a good fresh start, not just trying to jump on a team that's already maybe a title contender. So I thought that was interesting that he requested a team that wasn't that great. And then obviously Atlanta, they've gotten some good talent. Since they brought in their new coach Snyder, they were able to draft some guys, get some free agents, make some trades, make some moves. I think they're still waiting for Porzingis to come back because they were able to get him from Boston. So that'll add a little more size and a little more depth on their bench as well. But obviously when you heard about the Trey Young trade, did it surprise you that he wanted to go to Washington? Or, I feel like with the Hawks and him, the writing was kind of on the wall. They were always a play-in team. He's not a big guy. He's not going to be a defender. He's not going to do a lot of defense and dirty work. So in regards to the Trey Young trade, surprised, not surprised? Were you surprised he did want to go to Washington, though, too?
It really wasn't a surprise. And to be very honest with you, Trey Young is a dynamic player. I'm not a big fan of one-way players. I love two-way players. You got guys who could put up a lot of numbers on offense, but when it comes to defense, they get exposed in the playoffs. The playoffs is a totally different game. If you got the big hole with your star player and he can't play defense and they're going to pick on him, what do you have? The trade to me is a non-issue because Trey is a big name. Then people are going to talk about it. But you got those teams like Washington and even Atlanta that it seems like their style is to put a dynamic offensive player out on the court, get fans in the seat, and they never compete for the playoffs. So if you're not competing for the chip, if you're not getting into the playoffs, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're just one of 32 teams in the league with a star player, selling $5 tickets. So it really didn't matter to me where Trey ended up.
Yeah.
If he ended up on a contender,
Yeah.
then I would have probably paid a little bit more attention. But from one bad team to another,
Yeah.
what does it really matter in the grand scheme of things?
Exactly. Yeah, at this point,
I love you, Trey.
Yeah.
I love you, Ice Trey. But you probably just want to be in a fun city. You go from Atlanta to DC so you can, sell sneakers and be the man.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be the man, and you're gonna put up good numbers. You might make it to the, you might make it to the playoffs one year,
The
but
play-in, yeah.
you're not gonna compete for a chip. It doesn't matter if you're not competing for a chip, as far as I'm concerned.
So another kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say Trey Young was disgruntled, but we have kind of another guy with some issues with his franchise. That's Ja Morant. Now there's rumors that he's been put out. They're listening to offers now for Ja over in Memphis. The guy's a great talent, great athlete. Shooting is a little limited. He's not the greatest shooter on the outside, but he's obviously got some bounce. He can drive the ball. He's always going to be a guy that can give you 30 on any night. If Ja Morant does leave, who do you think what team benefits off of him? And then it's also these teams is when you go for guys like this, you're giving up depth, you're giving up, draft picks. So who do you think is willing to give up, what they got to give up to get Ja Morant in the league right now? Who do you think he's a good
I think I kind of put Ja right now, unfortunately, in a category with Trey. He's an exciting player. If you have him on your team, people are going to want to show up to watch him play. But he's a guy that could make other players better. He's going to put butts in seats. He's going to sell sneakers. Where he ends up, unless he ends up on a team like, I don't know, You pick a team that's not in the running for the chip.
Utah.
And Utah, I mean, he's another player that he doesn't play defense. He's not really a defensive guy. You know, I'm a big fan of two-way players. I'm a big fan of guys that, you know, are not going to be ball hogs, who are going to pass the ball, who are going to put up numbers. I'd rather have a guy that can put up 20 points and play defense than a guy who puts up 40 points and plays no defense.
Right, and then you still lose by 2 because he's not playing defense.
And you get some highlights.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point when you say about like what top teams are going to take him, because all the top teams are pretty solidified at the point guard position, so they don't need a guy like that. So it's kind of like you are going to end up, if you get traded, you're not going to go to a contender, that's for sure. You're going to go to, you know, you're probably going to go to like a Charlotte or, you know, someone like that where they need like a guard, or maybe the Clippers. Like you're going to go to a team like that possibly that, you know, needs that guard position. I don't know if he'd be a good fit on the Bucks, and I don't know if they would have the players to give him, but he's kind of a ball dominant guy, and we kind of already see that didn't work out with Dame being on the because with Dame being on Milwaukee, he was kind of ball dominant, and then Giannis needs the ball too, so that really didn't work out. And then speaking of Giannis, he's been quoted saying he wants to stay in Milwaukee for the rest of his career. I don't know if he's just doing that to play the good guy role. If he were to get traded, then, you know, he won't catch any flack. But if Giannis were to get traded, I mean, there's some teams out there that would definitely benefit from Giannis. And then obviously mainstream media says the Knicks. Do you think the Knicks would be a good fit for Giannis? And then, you know, look what they would have to possibly give up. You know, you might have to give up like a Mitchell Robinson, maybe some draft capital. So if Giannis were to get traded, who would you like to see him go to? And then, you know, if that team would be a finals team or not.
Well, I think, you know, Giannis is one of those guys that, you know, you put him on any team, he's going to make the team better.
Yeah.
But with the salaries that these guys are getting paid, like you said, you might have to gut a good team to get a player like him. Yeah. And even Ja, he falls into that category. They're paying him big numbers, and you need a team, not just one guy. I mean, some of these teams in the NBA, that's really their model. They're going to pay one player, possibly two players, a lot of money to get a bunch of highlights, and you're not going to compete for the chip. So Giannis, I'd love to see him stay in Milwaukee and you know, finish out his career there. I mean, he's got probably not one of my favorite coaches.
Is it still Doc Rivers, right?
Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers be out here blackmailing fools. He probably got new pictures of the owner or something. He got something going on because that guy always lands a job.
I don't know why they always hiring Doc Rivers.
He's been recycled 4 times.
They keep hiring Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers is one of those guys that's like a NBA favorite. He probably interviews well, but I don't know. It was a couple games ago that you know, they were trying to run a last play, and Giannis drew up the play and told him, like, no, we're not running what you're talking about. We're going to do something else. And it was a dynamic play that got Giannis, that got them to win.
That's good.
So I think Doc Rivers maybe is just not as good a coach as people sell him to be. I really don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
All right. So those are our Trade Young trade and other possible trades that could happen in the league. Now let's switch gears and go to your top 5 midseason MVPs. These are just guys that, you know, not by stats. It's kind of who you like watching, maybe like who gives you that, you know, that good gut feeling that you like a lot. So who's your let's go from 5 to 1. Who's your fifth? Who's your number 5 for the top 5 midseason MVP?
Oh man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with our veteran Kevin Durant.
Wow, really?
You know,
okay.
The real meaning of MVP is the guy that's, you know, if you lose him on the team, you're in big trouble. Uh-huh. And he has made that team a playoff contender. Okay. He's a finisher. He plays defense. He's not going to be, the vocal leader. But if you take him off the team, what do you have?
Exactly. All right, I like that one. Now, who's number 4 on your top 5 MVPs midseason?
So another surprise for me is Brown.
Who's that?
Brown has stepped up. I mean, he
Okay.
was in the shadows of
Oh,
Tatum.
yeah.
And if you look at, no one thought, I mean, I don't know if you thought that he was going to be as dynamic as he is this year. He does play both sides of the ball. He plays defense, and his offense has gotten better. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of guys who play both sides of the ball.
Yep.
And so most of my guys that I'm going to look for as MVP are going to play both sides of the ball. And if you take them off the team, that team is probably in a little bit of trouble.
All right. I like that one. Jaylen Brown at number 4. Who's your number 3 on your top 5 MVPs?
Giannis got to be up there for me. The guy's got a motor. You can see that he really wants to win. He's passionate about winning. There is no doubt that if he gets the ball, he's going to put every ounce of effort into winning. So I don't know how you cannot vote for Giannis.
All right.
Giannis he's a throwback.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys. Maybe he's not as mean as some of these old school guys, but if you put him in any era, I think he's going to play, and he's going to play hard, and he's going to get you a lot of wins.
I agree to that one. All right, so Giannis at number 3. Who's your number 2 at the top 5 midseason MVPs?
Big surprise for me is Maxey.
Joel
Embiid.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid is he's lost his step. He's playing on bad knees. He's still a big talent, but man, there's a couple of games ago I watched Maxey play against the Lakers. The guy's got speed. His shooting is better. His IQ is high. He plays both sides of the ball. And I think, quite honestly, like I said, if you take him off the Sixers right now, the Sixers are in trouble.
Okay.
I mean, who are you going to –
Yeah,
he's a big focal point on the Sixers.
I think they got that good. I've heard about the rookie Edgecombe. I believe that's pretty well on the perimeter also that they have. Okay, so number who?
Hey, but you
go ahead, Gary.
All right, go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
go ahead.
Who is your number 1 mid-season MVP? It's probably Wimby, but let's hear it.
Gotta go with Shea, man.
Oh, okay.
Gotta go with Shea.
All right.
Gotta go with Shea.
Shea Butter.
The man can ball. I mean, he's there's a couple of weaknesses that he had in his game last year. I forget which direction he couldn't go in, or he wasn't pulling up to the left or to the right. And there was a couple of games early on in the season that they needed him. They tried to play him to his weak side, and he showed them that he worked on his weakness in the off season. I mean, I love guys like that. They know what their weaknesses are. They spend the off season working on it. They have a complete team over there.
Yeah.
But if you take him off the team, you might get past. You might make it to the playoffs. But as far as winning the chip, without him scoring the ball, they're not going to get over the hump.
Exactly.
Shea
I agree.
Is the man.
Yeah,
he is the man.
All right, so that was our top 5 midseason MVPs. Go through them again one more time. We have number 1, Shea. Number 2, Tyrese Maxey. Number 3 was Giannis. Is that right?
That's right.
And then number 4, who do we have at number 4? Remind me again.
That was Brown, and then Kevin finishing it off
Kevin
with
Durant,
Kevin Durant.
5. I like that top 5 midseason MVP. We'll keep up with those guys, see how they finish out the year, see how their franchises finish out the season. But next up at the end of the show, it's the Juiced Up Takes. All right.
Favorite part of the show.
Yes, sir. And so our Juiced Up Takes, it has to stick with the NBA theme. We're going to talk about load management and tanking. I have a couple of theories for Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner. I think if you want My solution to load management is this. You drop the season to 70 games. You shorten the quarters down to 10-minute quarters. So that means the game is only 40 minutes. So you're getting 12 less games, and then you're also getting less minutes on your legs or whatnot. So that's my solution suggestion for the load management. In regards to teams tanking, you got a team like the Indiana Pacers right now who are just in the finals, and they have 6 freaking wins, man. 6 wins. That's literally tanking. San Antonio tanks for 10 years to get Wemby. Like, that is some serious tanking. So this is my solution to tanking. I watch the English Premier League soccer in England, right? They have a thing called relegation. The top 3 bottom teams, they get eliminated from the main league and they get sent down to the other league, and then they bring the top 3 teams up from the other league into the NBA. So I suggest this. Your top 3 bottom teams in the NBA, you send them to the G League. You take your ass to the G League because that's all you're good for, and you bring up 3 G League teams and let them try their shot at the NBA. What is your take on load management and tanking? It's definitely hurting ratings. It's hurting the NBA, their kind of like the reputation. What is your take on load management and tanking?
I got the best solution for load management.
What's that?
You get paid all that money, play the freaking game. If you're not hurt, suit up and play.
Exactly.
If you're not at 100%, maybe you don't play 40 minutes. Maybe you play 25 minutes. But this era of basketball where the players don't have any pride, I'm not a big fan of it. They play offense. They don't want to play defense. They got a hangnail. They don't want to play. Why are they getting paid so much money to not play?
Exactly. Well, they try to put they try to put in these rules like, oh, now you can't make all NBA. You don't qualify for this. You don't qualify for that. But I don't think it means enough to these guys, to not qualify for these things because they're going to get their check at the end of the day. There's probably not a lot of incentive in their contract to get to these achievements. So I feel like once they've already gotten an all-NBA team, it's like after that, it's just like, oh, okay, I got it again. So I think they really got to figure it out. But I think they should definitely send down these, like, if you're tanking and you got 6 wins in an 82, 11 wins in an 82-game year, you need to get your sash sent down to the G League. Like, seriously, like, take your ass down to the G League. Get your mind right. Get your life right. Like, that's bad when you got 10 wins in an 82-game year, and then you just really don't care about it. And so that's pretty unfortunate.
I don't know. I hate to sound like an old school guy, man, but, like I said, I love guys that play both sides of the ball. I love people that got some pride. I'm like, all this hugging and not wanting to compete against the guy who's, I get on the court. I want to beat the other player. You might be my friend. I'm going to try to take your head off to win. But at the end of the game, we're still boys. But that competitive spirit, a guy like Giannis, that's what I'm talking about. There used to be tons of guys like that in the league.
Yeah.
You name me 10 of them like that.
Right.
I know you're a big Kobe fan. Kobe wasn't having it.
Yeah,
Kobe wasn't having it
anymore.
Neither was MJ.
Right.
He was trying to win.
Yep.
So these guys don't have the incentive anymore. Everyone's getting paid so much money. The sneaker contracts, the salaries are so high.
Yeah.
It seems like some of these players, quite honestly, when they're in a contract year, that's when they put up numbers. And then once they get paid, it's like,
Yep.
I'm paid.
Yep, pretty much.
But
I couldn't finish it off better, Gary. I really do appreciate it. Thanks, Jamaica Gary, for joining us for our NBA special on the Juiced Up Show. I hope to collaborate a little more, especially as the NBA season continues and the NFL season ends. Thanks for joining our show. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. Comment in the comment section. Let us know who your top 5 NBA midseason MVPs were. And also follow me when I do Juiced Up the Hard Way with B. Liberty from the podcast 3 the Hard Way as well. Everybody have a good night. Peace out. Have a good night, Gary. Thanks again for everything, man.
All right, Jake. Love the show, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one.
All righty.